You know, I don't know if I should start this with like saying, let's rock, baby, or jackpot, without it sounding cringe, but Devil May Cry is back. Devil May Cry 5. So it has been 11 years since there's been a mainline Devil May Cry game. You know, you got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then nothing happened in between, and now we have 5. And after waiting so long as an extensive fan of the series like myself, I can say it's absolutely worth it. This game, ooh boy, let's go. So plot first, right? Devil May Cry isn't exactly known for its Shakespearean narratives, but this story is actually pretty well written, and it's got some twists and turns along the way that if you're a veteran of the series, you'll kind of see some of them coming, but if you're a newcomer, like a lot of people probably are, it's going to be enough to throw you for a loop and actually keep you guessing for most of this one game, and there's some emotional beats that'll probably get you too. But legendary devil hunter Dante Sparda, I've always called him Dante Sparda. Point is, legendary devil hunter Dante has been tasked with a new job. He has to stop the demon king Urizen before he grows too powerful and eats the world, maybe? He's after a fruit. I guess I could say that without spoiling it. But Demon King Urizen is actually quite powerful, more powerful than any of us could have imagined, and Dante doesn't exactly have a good time, and neither does Nero. So a month has passed, and now it's time to get strong and go back after him and defeat him. You play as Dante, Nero, and a series newcomer named V, who's very mysterious. I'll talk more about him later, but Dante and Nero actually have quite satisfying personal stories in this game, and the way that their characters evolve from start to finish in this game, there's a very interesting balance that they strike, where if they wanted to continue forward with Nero as the frontman, they could, or if they wanted to stop now, they could do that as well. Needless to say, though, the story between Dante and Nero was handled far better here than it was in Devil May Cry 4. I know that game was kind of rushed and it was unfinished when it first released, but there's still some things that I don't quite forgive with that, like, I'll talk about that if I ever review the 4th game. Point is, Dante's the same lovable, you know, snarky, sarcastic douchebag of a character that you just love. But Nero's actually kind of different than he was last game. It's obvious that he spent a lot of time around Dante, but there's a little bit of Dante from DMC Devil May Cry thrown in there, but not to the point where he's an annoying, cringy character. Just where he's kind of, you know, he's still young, so he doesn't take things super seriously like he did in the 4th game, and he actually seems to enjoy devil hunting, which is cool. V, though, I can't say much about how he changes or appears as a character without spoiling anything, so I won't. Gameplay! One major issue that I had with Devil May Cry 4 was that Dante and Nero played so differently that you would find yourself missing things from each character when you were playing as the other one, like, why can't I snatch with Dante, or why can't I change styles with Nero? It was very unsatisfying, but this time they fixed that. Dante plays like a dream. You can change weapons and styles mid-combat, like you've always should have been able to. You weren't really able to change styles during combat until the 4th game, but they fixed that. Now you can be Trickster, Royal Guard, Gunslinger, Swordmaster, all in the same fight, and it really gives you an edge in certain boss fights, because if you switch from Royal Guard to get a parry up, and then you start using Trickster, and then switch to Swordmaster, you can get some really good combos and get some major damage. And Nero, he's got the Devil Breaker arms instead of having the Devil Bringer in the last game because something happens. But every Devil Breaker has a different ability, and they've also got a super move. There's a different one for if you're in the air or on the ground, so there's basically 2 super moves for every Devil Breaker, but if you use a Devil Breaker, it's broken and you can't use it anymore. Same as if you get hit while using the Devil Breaker, it's broken, you can't use it anymore. But the Devil Breakers all add something new and interesting to the combat and keep it fresh and free-flowing and very interesting so that you never really get bored when you're playing as Nero. The same type of combo system is still present from the other games, like 2 hits, delay, the 3rd hit, there's a different type of combo that you can do, or hit, delay, another hit, different combo, things like that. You have to unlock those with red orbs, but this game is actually very generous with red orbs. You get like 15,000 for an A, so it's not too difficult to get up a nice decent fortune. And as always, the red orbs that are dropped in mid-combat are dependent on what type of combos you used or how high you got your style ranking up to. So the better you play, the more the game rewards you, as always. V plays very differently, though. He doesn't actually attack. He has summons. He has enemies from the first game, which I think is kind of interesting. But they do the attacking for him, yet they can't kill the demons. So you have to deliver the killing blow. Like when they get staggered, you go and you finish them off, which is... it's a little overwhelming when there's like 25 demons on screen and you can't do anything but run the whole time and hope that your demon constructs will come to save your life. But when you're playing it on like Human or Devil Hunter, it's not too bad. Son of Sparta, I haven't finished it on Dante Must Die yet. But since I'm talking about difficulty, I should probably talk about the difficulties. When you start the game, it gives you Human or Devil Hunter mode. Human is for newcomers, Devil Hunter is for series veterans. I'm a series veteran, so I played it on Devil Hunter. I actually had a really good time. It felt a little bit easier than I played it on Son of Sparta mode. Son of Sparta seemed a little bit more like normal from the previous games, which is okay. Don't take that to mean that the game is extraordinarily easy. It's accessible to series newcomers, but it's also a great time for people that have been playing Devil May Cry for a long time. Devil Trigger is just as satisfying to use in this game as it was in the previous games, especially when you get Devil Sin Trigger with Dante. You just do all the damage, and it can help you get a couple of the more difficult trophies. I'll give you that. Secret missions are still a blast because they're a series staple at this point. Just like, oh, line up this thing with that thing, and then you go to another dimension. You get to just start fighting things, and then you might get a blue orb out of it, or a gold orb, or a purple orb fragment, or something like that. It all depends on which mission you're doing. I'll tell you, the secret missions are a lot harder to find in this game than they have been in previous games, which I think is cool because there's got to be, something to keep the series veterans more interested. Honestly, there's a lot here to love for series veterans like myself. The same thing that you've always loved about Devil May Cry, it's still here. The cocky attitude in the protagonist, the gameplay, the game is still very difficult when you start playing on Son of Sparta, Dante Must Die. And the game being challenging is what's made the series have such a niche audience, I guess. Like, it's not really a huge game across the masses, but the people that like the game like the fact that it's challenging. They like to push themselves up against this wall and then get through it. The game is still very fair. It's never punishingly difficult, but it will punish you when you make a severe mistake. Like in a certain boss fight, if you screw up, you will take a lot of damage, and it's just to teach you, hey, you can't do that. You have to change up the way that you play. Now, I'm not going to tell you how you should play Dante or Nero because that's really all to each its own, I tell you, though, I didn't use Gunslinger or Royal Guard very much, and I found myself getting through it just fine. I mainly switched between Trickster and Swordmaster, but I'm sure Royal Guard could be useful in very unique situations. And with Nero, the Devil Breakers that I used the most were Tomboy and Punchline. Those are just the ones that I enjoyed the most. They seem to give the better edge in combat. However, Buster Arm is pretty cool, but at a certain point you don't really need it anymore. Overall, my only real complaints are for some reason you still can't pause cutscenes. Lady and Trish don't do anything, but series newcomer Nico also doesn't do a whole lot, but she's great. I really enjoyed her character. I like me a female southern accent, what can I say? Point is, though, Nico, Lady, and Trish don't do much of anything, so I'm hoping there's like an expansion later on down the road where you do get to play as them for some special missions or something, or maybe there could be like an Uncharted Lost Legacy type thing where there's like a $40 game just about those two. I'd play that. I'd buy that. I'd be all over it. And I really still don't like the way that V controls it. You can get better at it, but at the same time, it doesn't feel as rewarding racking up an S or a double S or a triple S combo when you're just spamming triangle and square, hoping that your demons don't teleport to you and then start attacking something else. Whereas with Dante or Nero, you actually have to play a certain way to get your combo level up that high. But I don't know what else to say. The game is fast-paced. It's a lot of fun to play. It's very accessible to newcomers. There's a lot here to love if you're a newcomer or a veteran. The characters are fantastic. They're probably better than they've ever been. It's the best Devil May Cry story since the third game. It's the best made game since the third game. There's just nothing here to not love, and Devil May Cry 5 gets the first Spectabulous of the year. I'll tell you, there's literally nothing more annoying than getting a phone call in the middle of recording a video. Especially when you're almost done. Point is, I haven't given a Spectabulous to a movie yet. I guess you could say I gave one to The Winter Soldier, but that's from years and years ago. Devil May Cry 5 is the first one to get one that came out this year. I don't know what you want me to say. Other than, jackpot! Tell me if that Dante was good.